James Dean, the story of proving his worth to his father. Sometimes a person spends their whole life trying to prove to one person something that person was never able to make them feel. I am worthy of love. I matter. Look at me. James Dean lost his mother when he was only 9 years old. After her death, his father sent him from California back to Indiana, where he lived with his aunt and uncle. The little boy lost more than his mother. He lost his familiar world. He lost his sense of family. And his relationship with his father became distant. We cannot know for certain what was happening inside James Dean, but we can recognize a psychological pattern that many people know all too well. When a child lacks recognition, love, and emotional closeness, they may begin searching for a way to become significant enough to finally be seen, to become better, special, different, someone impossible to ignore. James Dean chose the stage, then cinema, and very quickly became one of the most recognizable young actors of his generation. East of Eden, Rebel Without a Cause, Giant, three films, and an image that outlived the actor himself. But behind the image of the rebel, we can see more than freedom. We can see a young man who encountered loss, loneliness, and emotional distance very early in life. And this raises an uncomfortable question. How much of what we call ambition is actually an attempt to finally receive love? I'll become successful, and then you'll be proud of me. I'll become beautiful, and then they'll choose me. I'll make a lot of money, and then they'll understand that I'm worth something. I'll become indispensable, and then they won't leave me. And a person can turn their entire life into an endless attempt to prove their worth. But there is a trap. You can receive recognition from the whole world and still keep waiting for recognition from one particular person. Then you carry that need into your relationships. Choose me. Prove that you need me. Don't leave me. See how valuable I am. And love stops being a meeting between two adults. It becomes an examination. Prove to me that I am worthy of love. But achievement cannot heal a childhood wound, because the child did not need an achievement. The child needed to hear, you are valuable not because of what you have achieved. You are valuable simply because you exist. James Dean died at the age of 24, before the release of his two final films. His life ended very early, but the question his story leaves behind is much bigger than his biography. How many years of your life have you spent trying to prove your worth to someone? To your father, to your mother, to an ex-partner, to someone who rejected you, or to the entire world? And perhaps the deepest work on ourselves begins precisely where the need to prove ourselves to someone ends. Not to our father, not to our mother, not to an ex, not to society, not to the person who once rejected us, but to ourselves. Because as long as you are trying to prove your worth to someone who once failed to see it, a part of you may still be living from the position of the child, waiting for recognition. Adulthood begins with a different question. What if I no longer need to prove anyone that I am worthy of love? This is where the return to yourself begins. And this is where shadow work begins, with the inner patterns that were formed long before your current relationships. If you keep choosing people whose love you have to prove, if you need to be needed, indispensable, or special, if one person's rejection destroys your sense of worth, perhaps you are trying to receive today the recognition you once didn't receive, and this can be changed. If you recognized yourself in this story, send me shadow in a private message. I'll tell you where you can begin. And take care. Bye bye.